Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user Deleted, formerly StarBluePanda. Help me, 30 female Indian, stand up to my parents and marry my boyfriend, 35 male European. As the title says, my boyfriend and I would like to move forward in our lives and take the next step with the blessing of my parents. He's come over to my house on numerous occasions, stayed over, eaten with us, with no issues from my parents whatsoever. In fact, they loved having him around, and despite the language barrier, they would always communicate and understand each other. That was until we sat down and told my parents that we would like to move forward in our lives and get married. The night that we told them, my parents said what a relief it was for them that I had finally found someone who I would like to spend the rest of my life with. Within minutes, they started to tell us what needs to be done, traditions, who would be invited, etc. They went as far as to say that since his mom hasn't met me, we should make a trip down to his home country together, which is usually a big no-no in the Indian culture, and meet his mom and his family, and perhaps plan a ceremony there as well so his family can attend. Well, I was over the moon. I had expected everything to blow up in my face the minute we told them, but they had the opposite reaction. The next morning we leave for work. He stayed the night, and both of us are overjoyed. Around noon, I decided to give my mom a call and asked if she had spoken to my aunt, as she said she would be giving her a call to tell her all the good news. Well, my mom picks up and I'm met with a very cold attitude. I ask her if everything is okay and she is outright rude, so I hang up. I message my brother to ask him if everything is okay. He texts back saying, "Yeah dude, why?" I said, "Well, I just called home and mom was very rude to me." He asks me to call him. Well, it looks like my parents aren't happy at all. When I ask why, my brother says because he is not Indian. I ask, is that all? He reluctantly tells me that they did say something else. According to them, he looks old and I look like his daughter. What the F? Everyone we have ever met says we make the perfect couple and complement each other well. I ask again, is there anything else? And he says no. They said he has a good career, is a gentleman, would make any girl happy, but we don't want our daughter marrying him because he is not Indian and he is old looking. That hurt me a lot. I've grown up with my cousins giving me skin whitening cream because apparently I'm too dark for them. I don't talk to these people, but I was very upset that my parents would say anything like this about another person. Apparently, the night before, they had faked everything. I was beyond upset. I went numb. I called up my boyfriend to tell him what just happened, and he basically said, "I knew it was too good to be true. Is there anything I can do to change their minds?" He offered to go over after work and sit down with my dad to talk to him and answer all his questions. These are the questions that my parents raised. Why did he leave home at 18? He must not be family-oriented. Why is he traveling the world? He must not be family-oriented. Why isn't he married already? He is 35. There must be something wrong with him. How much money does he have in his bank account? What are his savings like? Does he have debt? I told my brother this is none of my parents' business. I've already had conversations about the finances with my boyfriend, and anyways, this has nothing to do with them. At this point, my dad refuses to talk to me and my mom is taking every opportunity to be mean to me. A few days later, my mom decides to talk to me and she totally catches me off guard with what she says next. She tells me my dad had a heart attack when I told him I want to marry my boyfriend. I'm sorry, but excuse me? What are you talking about, Mom? She goes on to say that my dad is going to die and I am to blame for it if it happens. Thanks, Mom. She says it's either the boyfriend or them, and I tell her, it's my life and I'm going to do what I feel is right for me. She loses it and says, "So, you are going to go ahead with the wedding?" I'm like, "Oh yes, I've had enough of you telling me what to do, who to talk to, how to do things, etc." She says, "You need to think about us also. How will we talk to him? How will we tell him our sorrows, etc." I'm like, "Listen, why do I need to provide you with a friend to talk to? I don't get it. You have so many other people you can talk to about these things. You don't talk to me about these things, so why would you talk to my boyfriend about these things? At this point, I get so emotionally worked up, I go and sit in the bathroom and cry. The reason I got so upset is that my uncle suddenly passed away last year, and it's something I am still trying to come to terms with. After 20 minutes, she comes to make sure I am okay and if I want to eat anything. I tell her I am hungry and I can cook for myself, I am not a child. I guess she feels bad enough to the point to take me out shopping. I reluctantly go because I don't want to be the bad person. For obvious reasons, I am in no mood to talk. On the way home, 5 minutes away from home, she yells at me in the car and says I am selfish and that I should also think about others, not just myself. I ignore her, come home, and come straight into my room. It's now been 4 weeks and my mom is pretending like nothing ever happened. My dad hasn't spoken to me in 4 weeks. This week I have decided to sit down and talk to my parents about where they stand. If by some miracle they have changed their mind, that would be great. But obviously that doesn't seem to be the case. So my question is, Reddit, how should I approach the conversation and what should I say? I feel terribly guilty for having to pick one over the other, and I would feel even more guilty if something actually happened to my parents. But it's time I start to live my own life. Well, OP, first of all, I have to say, what your parents are putting you through absolutely sucks. That type of ultimatum, it's either us or your boyfriend, that sucks. Having said that, I also have to say that I totally understand that there is a whole cultural thing going on here that I am absolutely ignorant about. So I don't think I could give you proper advice regarding your particular situation. However, if the cultural thing wasn't a part of this, I would say your last paragraph and your last line absolutely says it all. It's time you start living your own life. You seem to really love your boyfriend, he seems to love you, and you guys are ready for what's coming next. You've had all the conversations you've needed to have, so just move on. But again, this advice could be rendered moot considering the cultural thing. Anyways, what about you guys? What do you think about this whole situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Rise Anew says, so many Desi parents will kick and scream and throw a tantrum when their kids marry non-Desi partners. And yet, after a couple of years, or hell, even months, those same Desi parents would get lonely and ask you to come back into their lives sooner or later. Trust me, I'm a Desi woman who married a Chinese partner, and although my mom was pissed at first, she came around a few months later. I've seen this cycle happen over and over, to the point where religious Desi parents I know will grudgingly accept non-Desi and non-religious sons and daughters-in-law just to keep in touch with their kids and grandkids. And even if your parents don't ever come around, what do you intend to do? Give up your partner and marry some rando your parents pick for you? At some point, you have to decide to live for yourself instead of for your parents, no matter what kind of guilt they subject you to. Otherwise, you'll end up like so many weak-willed Desi women I know who end up with god-awful Desi partners and hate their lives. You do not want that to happen to you. Lord of the Fries says, your parents love you and they are doing what they think is best for you. Unfortunately, this doesn't line up with what you know to be the right course, so friction arises. Your life is yours, and although it touches and contributes to many others, it is still yours to control. You're a good daughter, clearly very empathic and smart. This is horribly painful, but choosing their way instead of your own will just end up making you miserable for life. Their feelings will change when they see how happy you are and how wonderful your marriage and potential family turns out to be. Good luck. El Falias says, I feel like you should live your life, but maybe give up on the idea that you're going to have a major happy family celebration. It's possible you just have to never talk to them again if you have kept your dignity as a 30-year-old adult. I'm an Indian too, and in situations like these, it pisses me off so much when parents behave like this. Because, you know, as I do, that if you got married to someone they wanted and that person started cheating or abused you, they would tell you to forgive and deal with it. They couldn't and wouldn't help you if their choices hurt you. I've seen this so many times. For starters, know that you're not wrong, but you're going to have to get a nice and shiny titanium spine. You no longer ask them or beg for their approval. You tell them what's going on, and if they don't like it, you're sorry, but you won't be contacting them anymore. And plan your wedding. Just don't count on mom and dad to be decent and understanding. You live with them. I suggest you pack and try to move out before this conversation. Additional information from OP's comments. At the moment, I live at home, hoping for a miracle. However, I've been coming late almost every day and they have stopped asking me where I am and when I'll be home. I guess it's a start. Also, my brother is unfortunately stuck in the middle and I feel bad for him. He did speak with my parents for the first week. However, he said something which indicates he is leaning more towards my parents' side. He basically said I should have stayed abroad, was on a work assignment in the Middle East, and none of this would have happened. He also said that, did I not see that I was dating a white man, and did I not think of the consequences then? But I've chosen to ignore these remarks by him as he is still helping me by trying to talk sense into them. Regarding what my mom said to me about my dad, he didn't have a heart attack, he just basically went numb. Saying he had a heart attack is my mom's way into guilting me, and it worked, cause now I live in fear. I'm so thankful that my boyfriend is being so understanding right now. At this moment, given the amount of crap they said about my boyfriend, I don't want them to be present at whatever ceremony we decide to go with. The only consequence would be that my parents would have to explain to everyone they know what happened to their only daughter. But if they are going to behave like this, then right now, it's their problem and not mine. In fact, neither of us is religious, so we are okay with just having a court marriage done. The only reason we were willing to go through with the traditional ceremony was because of my parents. Also, it would give my parents the chance to shut down anyone who would crap about my marrying a non-Indian person. And almost all my cousins are married to whoever they chose to marry. One of them married a British guy. Others are married to Indians of different religions. I also have a cousin who had a child out of wedlock. What the F? In fact, I have a cousin who got married, then divorced the guy after 2 weeks of marriage, and they were together for 7 years. So I think I'm one of the normal cases in the family. I'm not financially dependent on them at all. The only reason I stay at home is that we have a huge house and only 4 of us. I have sort of cut contact with them, still no effect on them. I still feel it's a silly issue to have, but my parents are now completely ignoring it as if it never happened. My dad still doesn't talk to me. My mom is pretended as if nothing ever happened, but I have basically stopped talking with both of them. They got wind of the fact that I want to talk to them about this issue, and now they are avoiding it and keep going out or inviting people over so as to avoid talking about the issue. However, I've had enough and will be talking to them tomorrow morning about it. I actually was able to move out about 2 weeks worth of clothes for work and put them in my locker at work. So, if I basically have to make a run for it, I am somewhat prepared. My boyfriend is also taking a few days of work in case he needs to come and pick me up or help me out, etc. Well, the community came through for OP, giving her some pretty solid advice, and OP gave us some context to understand this whole thing better. So now, let's move on with the update to see what happened next. So, tomorrow is the day I leave home. Over the last few days, I've been slowly collecting my important documents and moving my things to my fiance's home. Tomorrow, I will take my bags and tell my family I am leaving. Up until now, I have been refusing to run away. However, the guilt is eating me up inside. Maybe it would be better to just run away? I won't have to face them that anyway. However, I do want to leave them with the opportunity to reach out to me if they decided in the future to change their minds. Even though the damage to the relationship has been done, I am still willing to give them all the chances in the world. I feel like I'm betraying my parents and my brother's trust, sad face, and I can't get rid of this feeling. I feel horrible. My fiancé has been understanding throughout the entire process and he gets it. He makes me understand. I am okay for the moment, and the second I am alone, I feel guilty and empty all over again. However, yesterday, I did sit down and write down the pros and cons of leaving home and family. My list of pros outweighs the cons list. However, the closer it comes to tomorrow, the more I am filled with anxiety and fear. I feel paralyzed with fear. I am scared. What if something actually does happen to my parents? What if they do get sick or die? What if I never see them or my brother again? The rational me says they will come around eventually. The emotional me says I will never see them again. It's been 2 months of me feeling like this, in a constant state of anxiety, worrying, feeling worthless. Sometimes I think, what's the point if I will never be able to make decisions for my own life? What's the point if I am living to please others? What's the point of anything if I can never be happy? I've also tried to think how I would feel if I leave my fiancé and obeyed my parents. It doesn't end so well for me in my head. Additional information from OP's comments. Their main concern is what will people think? What face will we show? Etc. Then their other concerns come into play. Well, mom and dad, if you pretend you're happy for an hour, it leaves no room for outsiders to say anything. But they aren't ready to understand this. Before I leave, I intend to make it very clear that they are welcome to call me. The minute they spew out any toxic crap, they are being cut out and blocked completely. I've put up with their BS for years now. Still, regarding giving my parents all the chances they need, well, this is a joint decision taken by my fiancé and myself. Actually, he is the one that is pushing to keep the lines of communication open, but my parents feel like he is making me act the way I am. I wish they could see who he really is and not think their poor baby girl is a puppet of some kind. Makes me so angry. Next day update. I got out! Yay me! My parents were real jerks and said a few things that made me fear for my safety. They tried to emotionally blackmail me, but because of what they said, I decided it was best if I just left. Thank you everyone for your support. Heart. If anyone ever needs to talk, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I don't want anyone to go through what I went through without support. Well, OP moved out. Good for her, she took the plunge. Hopefully it works out alright between her and her fiancé and with her family as well. Now, 2 months after this post, OP has given us one final update, so let's finish off with that. It's been 2 months since I left home. It feels much longer than that. A lot has happened in those 2 months. The most important thing is that my boyfriend and I got married. We had a small ceremony with some of our closest friends and I couldn't have asked for anything else. It was magical and felt good to be surrounded by individuals who truly care for us. I tried to meet up with my brother a couple of times prior to invite him to the wedding. However, he kept making excuses, so I stopped asking him to meet up. We do text and talk on the phone on a fairly regular basis, so at this point I am just giving him his space. My parents still aren't talking, however. My brother has told me that they do ask about me here and there. I do have my good days and bad days. There are days I miss my parents terribly, but I sit and think about all the things they said and the way they behaved, and it brings me back to reality. I do hope someday we are able to reconnect, but for the moment, I am just working on myself. Well, short and to the point with that final update. Thank you, OP, and congratulations on the wedding. All the best to you and your now husband. Hopefully someday your parents will reconsider and try to reach out. I don't know if it'll happen, but hopefully it does. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.